if you want to take everything we've earned from this channel so far, we're going to give it away. We're giving away a... The fact that you need, that's just what you need to like survive is insane. Or to be comfortable, quote unquote.
Because a lot of times people, perfect. A lot of times people will look at it like, okay, $100,000 individually. But if you're doing it individually, there's a lot of things in life that you could do. If you're doing it with a family and you're providing, it starts to eat away. That's why I think partnerships and actual relationships play a large role, because if you now combine two incomes, it's perfect. Like, it's kind of stupid if you're in a situation where it's like, hey, because if it's I'm making 100, you're making 100, we now have 200 grand.
But I think when you combine incomes, you're taking away from the mother doing the mothering.
No. Well, yes. Because
like,
that also plays a role.
You're a guy
too.
and your wife works, right?
Right.
Now she's like, yo, go do this. Go do, like, now it's like you're also, if you're both sharing the incomes, you're also sharing the mothering. So the men are now being mothers.
Well,
as a father, for me, when I look at it, right, it's like, oh, go change diapers. It's like, imagine being a guy, and in order for you to survive, you have to go to work 24/7. When you get home, you guys are splitting the diapers, doing all that stuff. Like, I would much rather just be a guy who works, have my wife at home comfortable. And because on top of that, your wife is also less happy working. I can almost guarantee almost every single woman, subjective, I don't have any statistics behind this, but I can almost guarantee every single woman would much rather just hang out with her baby all day instead of going to fucking work.
I agree. Cause, I understand there are career women that do exist, because it's foolish to say they don't.
Yeah.
But I primarily believe in their nature, you'd much rather just be able to be more domesticated at home with the child, things of that nature, while the guy goes out and works. But I think there's a misconception, because if in the event both work, there should be a sharing of responsibility or an understanding of it. Because let's say, for example, the woman works during the day, the man works at night. I think there can be a balance, because at the time there would be somebody who's home, but there needs to be an understanding of what is required. I think the biggest issue that couples run into is the man will work, the woman will work, and then the man has to do the same stuff the woman's doing. The woman has to do the same stuff the man does. And there's conflicting, because you don't want to do that shit.
Yeah.
I don't think dudes want to go and change diapers. I think it's cool to do it from time to time. Me personally, I've never changed a diaper in my life. I don't think I want to.
I didn't either until I had a baby.
And do stuff like that. Cooking, I don't mind cooking, although I would much rather my primary quarterly appointment do the cooking. Cleaning, I actually enjoy cleaning. Cleaning is therapeutic for me. I have no issue with something like that, right? Taking out garbage, I could go and do stuff like that. But
manly,
groceries, I hate it. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Right? Can't do it. So you just find different ways to where you can not necessarily compartmentalize, but work together. But I think if you're in survival mode and both parties are working, there's going to be some confliction that ends up happening, because that anger is going to spill into the relationship and then ultimately the parenthood.
Let me just use it on your, I guess, the perfect example. Your primary coital appointment will never have to work ever. You make more than enough money to provide for not only you, her, and a family. Allegedly. Let's say she gets pregnant. Are you telling her, hey, keep going to work? Or you say, hey, you know what? You're done. Yeah.
Since I was a kid, I've always said, like, the first, in my opinion, it should be 2 years, but first 3 years, there's no reason for you to go and go work anywhere else. But then even after the 3 years, who... I would have during that 3-year period. I would have grinded so much so to where you have the option to stay as long as you want, or if you want to go back to work. But in my mind, it's always been, I would much rather you be there, because daycare, things of that, I can't do.
As it should be. I agree with that 100%. I think as it should be, that's what you should do as a man.
Right.
So I think there's a conflicting thing where it's like, guys will expect, because I see this on Twitter. There was a girl like, oh, I have my master's and I have a 6-figure paying job, and these men don't want me. It's like, yeah, because men don't give a fuck. When I look at like a girl, or when I was single, if there's a girl, right, guys don't give a fuck if she makes 6 figures. No guy's gonna look at her and be like, oh, she like, everyone's an independent woman. Yeah, I don't know about that, because no one's looking at a girl, oh, she makes 6 figures. No, it's like, when I see women, let's say I see 2 women that are 60 years old. One is a doctor. She's a surgeon. She makes $250,000 a year. And one has 10 children, 30 grandchildren. I look at the women with like 10 kids. I'm like, oh, you're a fucking beast. You're a savage. You snapped.
I think there's
I
a
don't
misconception.
Look at the surgeon and being like, oh, you're a surgeon. That ain't shit.
It's a misconception amongst now with the career women, because I think especially with the boom of feminism, the media pushing like the independent woman narrative, which there's no issue if you do it, but as long as you have an understanding of what the fuck comes with it. Because if you think a dude's gonna sit over here and raise their eyebrows like, oh wow, you make 6 figures, you have 2 degrees, you have all this other stuff, that's not attractive necessarily to the guy that you want. Right? Because the guy that you want, you still want him to go and provide, protect, all that other stuff for you, and your money is not gonna contribute within the relationship. It's not like, all right, you make this money, you're dating somebody who's making $250,000 every single year. Are you contributing towards the bills? No, you don't want to. You still want to be able to sit and kick your feet up, because in your mind, you're looking at it like, all right, my money is my money, your money is our money. That's how naturally women go and they look at it. So
men have egos also when it comes to that stuff. If a woman is making more money than a guy, they feel a little some type of way about it.
Yes.
Imagine you're dating a woman and she just fucking little bros you. She's like, you fucking broke, and then you're, as a man, you're making less than your girl.
That's what it's not even just the money being made. I think it's I don't want to say the attitude that comes with it, but what ultimately ends up happening. Because anybody, I think for the most part, has experienced it. When you encounter a woman who makes more than you, at this point, it's almost like you don't exist, or you're like a little brother. Immediately. There are some to where they don't, I don't want to say project, but doesn't put off like, hey, I'm doing way better than you in life. Like, even if it's a difference of 10,000, for them, they make more.
Yeah.
So immediately you're down here.
I don't know, the way I look at it, even if it's $1 more, you've now, because like a girl looks at you and she's like, oh, it's not that hard to make money. Like, if she can look at you and say, like, I could do what you're doing. Yeah. It just kind of puts you down. In the same way that, like, I think women are going to be always better at raising children. That's just
naturally the nurturers.
Naturally better, yeah.
I think, and that's one of the problems that I think we have with society now, where we think they can. The media tries to push a narrative to where it's like we both can do the same things. We're both bred to do the same thing. That's a foolish way to look at it. Men and women are different. We're always going to be different. We always have been different, and there's different things that we excel at. When it comes to nurturing children, women are by far, in my opinion, from 0 to 7, women dominate in that realm. But then everything else moving forward, I think that's when the man can come in and go. But I don't have children, so I can't necessarily
provide. When I look at it, though, right? Like
content.
Every single guy, they're like, yo, I need a ride or die. That's what they always say. I need a ride or die. I need a ride or die. Who are those types of ride or die women? It's always like these women that, like, they're not the ones that are out there bossing up, making money, because they don't got a ride or die. They got their own shit. Why would they ride for you? You don't got nothing. They make a bunch of money. They're not going to ride for you. It's always these like mafia or cartel women. Like, what was it? It was El Chapo's wife. She was like, I didn't even know he sold drugs. He was a drug dealer? No way. Like, and then the memes were like, this is like, you want to ride or die like that as a guy? It's like, and keep in mind, she's not working. Mm-hmm. She's raising kids. He gave her a bunch of kids. She's just raising kids. El Chapo's doing his thing. She's raising the kids. There's peace there.
But there even can be moments in which he brings her into, and then, because there's no way she didn't know what the hell was going on. But in situations like that, there's no way he encountered her. So like, oh yeah, so you're also a drug lord as well. All right, cool. Let's have this drug lord partnership, because power would corrupt. Because whenever it comes to making money and then growing, I think there's an understanding of when men become rich, they think, man, I could utilize this money to go and take care of my family. Women would become rich like, man, I could be independent of a man. I don't need you. So it's like,
the way I see it, I think he didn't even tell her what was going on. He's just like, don't worry, baby, I got it. I'm rich. I'm a baller. She knew what was up, but she was like, okay, I'm not going to ask no questions. That being said, though, like, if you were like in a cartel or a gang, what do you think your role would be in that? Because I think about that a lot. Because when I try to build a business or an organization, even a team, I look at it like, I think these criminal organizations, they got the best org chart. They got the best organizational chart because they got people with different strengths, right? Like,
right. If you study the mafia, the Italian mafia, I think they had probably the best structure, only because when I believe it was Joe Valenti in like the 60s who had sat on, I think he was the first one to flip and then ultimately give out the structure of everything. You have your boss, underboss, consigliere, captains.
You want to elaborate
and
on
then
what all these people do?
Yeah,
so
so
they
then
can,
ultimately the boss is whoever runs the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
family. The underboss is like the number two. The consigliere is the advisor
Right.
of the family. And then you have captains that oversee the button men
Everything,
who are the
yep.
soldiers underneath.
That are like managers.
But overall, and then of course associates are people who are not in the family. They're
Right.
just from the outside. And I think across all different criminal organizations, you have your all of those different positions. Then you have the political influence; those would be
Right.
fall under associate. The drug dealers, earners. There's people
Right.
within the soldiers that are primarily their job is to go out and make money. There's others who are enforcers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. For me, I would probably be an associate. I wouldn't want to be a boss who runs said family because, of course, you have to insulate yourself
Yeah.
and everything. And I like to be outside. I can
Right.
be a behind-the-scenes kind of person, but if I was inside of a criminal organization, I'd much rather be an associate to where I'm connected, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So I mentioned MC Hammer on the prior episode. I think I'd be something like that because I know I'm a talent.
You're
So I would-
outside, yeah,
I'd
okay.
have to be in front, but if I'm way too connected,
Yeah.
it can now bring everything down. I'd rather be, if I was inside of it, I'd be somebody who's somewhat of an earner, but an associate on the outside.
Right.
Or if there was another position to take and I was supposed to play more of the background, I'd be like an advisor, like a
Consigliere,
consigliere,
yeah.
a treasurer. Well, maybe
Yeah.
not so much treasurer because I wouldn't want to deal with the money.
Right.
Because it's only a matter of time before somebody skims it. And if I'm the one who has to now bring it to the boss and say, hey, we got this,
They
this,
chop
this.
your fingers off,
Exactly.
yeah.
Because there's more than enough times to where if something is missing, if you can't identify who's the problem, you become the problem.
I think-
so. I don't want to have that happen.
So when I
don't want
look
that to
at
smoke.
organizations like that, funny enough, with any of my businesses, I always build it like it's like a mafia or a criminal organization. I know it sounds weird. We don't do anything illegal, but I think they have some of the best organizational structures because it's efficient and because it's upheld by like the thought of violence. People are less likely to like fold, right? Like in a job in a corporation, you could have employees, and since they're just getting a paycheck, they could be like, I'm gonna be a lazy fuck and not work, right? In the mafia, you get someone like that, they just cut your legs off.
And as incentive, not only the fear of possible violence, the more money that you make
Yeah.
for the family, the more money you make.
Yeah.
Like even whenever they talk about like the freaking Gambino family or
Right.
the Genovese and everything of that nature, when they're talking about people, Michael Francese is still alive till this day. They were making like $5 million a week.
Oh, that's crazy.
Through their gas scam. They had
That's
generated
crazy.
billions of dollars, but the thing is, or I should say tens of millions. I don't think they had reached a billion, but they always
Yeah.
inflate their numbers. But with all of that money, even if you were somebody who brought in like 10 million, you still would have to cut the percentage
Everybody,
to where
yeah.
you're seeing so you have to have an understanding of, hey, if I made the family 10 million and I'm only walking away with 750 grand, the family would acknowledge like, hey, this guy's an earner. We're going to want to protect this dude. So
Right.
you also have to have the ego of, although I brought all of this shit, I have to understand I'm part of something bigger than just myself. Because anybody with a brain would look at it like, hey, these guys might, do some violence to me if I don't give them their money.
Yeah.
But I have $10 million. What if I get my own protection or whatever? And then now you're in a war. So you have to
Right.
have an understanding. That's why it's important to having a good team.
The way I look at it, I think, I hate saying this because I feel like this is the cliche answer, but I feel like I would have to be the boss. Because I'm a builder. That's my main thing. I'm a builder. I don't like having anyone else above me. I don't like anyone telling me what to do because that's where it goes bad. I have like a really blatant disregard for authority. So I need to be the one calling the shots and building because I'm good at that. I'm good at and I think more than that, I'm good at like lifting other people. If people just listen to me, their lives change because they all start making a bunch of money. Like this month, I had a payroll that was over 100 grand. And every single person underneath me, their fucking lives changed. They made a fuckload of money. And even TJ, who would be technically the underboss, if I'm the boss, he's the underboss because he manages a lot of my operation. He made a lot of fucking money. He made more money than he's ever made in his life. Because of that, I think that's why I would be good at being the boss because everyone that works for me, all their lives change. Because we have him, then we have someone that's under him, which is kind of like a manager. I don't know what you would say there.
Underneath, so it'd be
It'd
like,
be like,
the
so if I'm the
captain.
boss, he's the underboss.
Yeah,
He's like, we have a
You'd
captain.
have a bunch of like captains, yeah.
We have salespeople, and those are earners.
Yeah.
We have customer support people and like coaches who are, I guess.
Yeah, those would be more associates with the coaches because they're more on the outside. They have their own stuff going on, but they would help you with different stuff.
Well, I think that would be like
Right.
Julian would be like an associate
Right,
because
right,
he's
right, yeah.
he helps and then he advises on a lot of that stuff. So it's like I have a big organization. I have people that fit in every single spot, and everyone's making a lot of money because of it. And my job is just to kind of like point everyone in the right direction and make sure they listen to me.
Because
keep everyone in line.
When I think of like the advisor, like the what would be the consigliere, who is like your checks and balances, who keeps you accountable and everything?
So that's what I'm saying. I think it would have to be like Julian.
Okay.
Because everyone else, I don't really trust them with business because they haven't really built businesses. Julian's a very analytical guy. So he's the one that can like question if I have a decision. And a lot of our meetings go like this. I'll say, hey, guys, do this. Everyone does it, right? Julian's the only one that will question me, and that's not afraid to question me. Hey, what? Like, why this? Is the reasoning behind that? Like, isn't it this or this? And he'll send me voice messages too, where it'll be like that.
That's where so it's the most important.
I'll send him, hey, do this, and he'll respond, well, if we do this, then you have to think about this and this. And he covers a lot of the blind spots, which is pretty awesome. So I don't know. The way I look at it, I think there's a checks and balances. So great example, right? I said, hey, we should build this and do this, and he would send me something like. So he gives his feedback. It's long, but it's like he'll give a whole thing like voice message of like, hey, this is why this wouldn't work. This is some of the issues I foresee. So yeah, I think I'm good at building the org because everyone around me is making everyone under me is making life-changing amounts of money. Obviously, I'm making a lot of money, but I'm good at organizing it and building. So I like that idea of being the boss because I don't think I fit anywhere else.
Okay.
I have a disregard for authority. I can't take directions from someone.
See, for me, I, to a certain degree, have that same problem, but because I'm somebody who likes to hold other people accountable and I like to be held accountable as well, I think the best spot for me would either be that advisory spot or an associate to where I'm kind of distant. But overall, for me, I would definitely be there. But I would ask you this one. What position do you think you would never take?
Never? Enforcer. Enforcer. Because enforcers are the dudes that like are the ones that force, like, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that like, I'm not good with confrontation. Don't get me wrong. I'm good with confrontation. I just don't want to be the one confronting people. So right now, like my underboss, TJ, he's the one that anytime we have to fire people, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to have to fire someone. I don't want to hear your sob story about this or that or like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. Take that off my table. I understand, boohoo, sad, but like someone else can handle it. So as an enforcer, you're the guy that's chopping limbs off. You're the guy that's taking people out. You're the guy that's fixing things. I'm not good at that. I don't like confrontation. I don't mind it. I don't feel bad for the people because if we're chopping their arms off, obviously something has occurred that they need to get their arms chopped off, right? Like great example, we just fired a girl because we checked to see if she was doing her job. I'm quiet too. I watch. So we see that she didn't do her job for 4 days. And I was like, all right, cool. Just take. So this is literally like how we handle it. We took away all of her access. We didn't let her know. And we waited until she responded. So we took all. So 3 days later, 4 days later, she's like, hey, I lost my access. I can't get in. I'm like, oh, crazy. And then we let her know, hey, you're gone. I didn't. Someone else did.
You took access away days ago.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would hate to be the enforcer because I hate the direct confrontation. And I think it's because I'm empathetic in that sense where it's like I'm a little nice. I don't like confrontation like that.
Oh, see, for me, my biggest issue would be in the realm of that of an earner to a certain degree.
Why?
Where if I'm the person who's bringing in the most within the organization, I would hate the fact that somebody else is making more than me because I come from, like in my background, even in sports and everything of that nature, I believe in meritocracy. So ultimately, if I'm the person who's bringing the most, I should be the one who's pocketing the most. Even if there's somebody who's above me, I understand how it's supposed to kick up, but soon enough, I'm going to begin to revolt. Like I think of in Goodfellas, and I think about when, I think it was Mort was his name, when ultimately when De Niro's character ended up killing him off, but he was the one who had found, hey, this is the heist that's going to go down over here in this airport. He discovered everything, and he just kept pushing the issue of, hey, you got to pay me, you got to pay me, you got to pay me. I wouldn't go about it that way, but I would let him know, like, hey, you wouldn't have known about none of this shit if it wasn't for me. Even though he didn't participate in what went down with everything, but I would be somebody who in back of my mind, I'm like, hey, I'm making all these damn plays for the organization and I'm not getting my respect. It's only a matter of time before I fucking, start to try to build stuff up behind your back.
Yeah.
That's where I would hate to be in that position.
This is the issue with that. So I love that because this is something I directly experienced. we have salespeople.
Yeah.
Right. My companies have salespeople, and some of these guys are good, real good. They are not even close. Just because they make a lot of money and they see how much money they make. Let's say one of these salespeople, they bring in $1 million for me.
Right.
Let's say they only make 100 or 200 grand of that. So for them to see me, I just made $1 million and they only got 100, 200 grand, they could feel some type of way, but they don't understand it costs to be the boss.
Right.
I also have a $100,000 payroll. I also built the organization. The only reason you have something to sell is because I created that for you. You wouldn't be here without me. And if we were to switch shoes for one day, your job is actually easier. They could look at it from a perspective of like, this guy has never had to do a sales call ever. I'm on the phone 9 hours a day making all this money for him. He's fucking sitting in his penthouse doing a podcast, and somehow he's making way more money than me. This is not fair. They can look at it from that, but like at the end of the day, you wouldn't be here. If we were to switch shoes, I could easily do what you do. You can't do what I do. There are levels to it.
Right.
So there's a reason the boss gets paid the most.
Correct.
He has the most responsibility. So when I look at that, right, I see these earners. I'm like, you are good. You have it. I've provided you with the opportunity. This is my mafia. You come to me. I've provided you with an opportunity to feed your family, and you're biting the hand that feeds you. And now you have to go. And now they're gone. They lose this big opportunity where they're making a lot of money. They could just shut the fuck up, dial the phone, get paid a lot of money. They have no other responsibilities. They don't deal with other people. They don't deal with any fallback because it all falls on me. I'm ultimately responsible for everything. You just gotta sit in your place and know your role. So I think with these earners, they're earning, but also you're not dealing with any of the other shit. You have one job.
Right.
Right.
My whole thing would be the acknowledgement of it, because of course when you're like from a perspective of a salesperson, let's just say if all of the day, and funny enough, a buddy of mine, he had a situation like this too, where it's like, yo, you're the number one salesperson from within the company, and then the CEO and the boss would be like, yo, we made. My company made X amount of money, and it's like they're flexing, but it's not, the company may have made this money, but I'm the focal reason as to why, and I'm not getting the acknowledgement either outside of the company and even from within. Soon enough, that's going to start to brew. But I'm right there with you. You don't know what the cost to be the boss is, because ultimately the software, the infrastructure of everything, you didn't have to build that. You only had a small percentage.
The acknowledgement is your fucking check.
Right.
That's your acknowledgement.
Right, but then it's so much.
So I think it's almost ego at that point. If someone's like, well, I need you to acknowledge me, it's ego, because your acknowledgement is the fucking check. When that wire hits your bank account, you're being acknowledged. Okay?
It's like Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't know what it's like to be. So I say that all the time because people say, oh, well, I want to do this. I'm like, okay, good luck. Because I built this from scratch. I built this from scratch. It costs to be the boss. At the end of the day, if you can't handle that, like if you can't stomach over $100,000 leaving your bank account first of the month.
It goes back to one of the things we talked about months ago in one of the earlier episodes with, like, when people talk about they want to make a certain amount of money, they don't take into account how much you have to spend to get there. Like, oh man, I want to make $100,000 a month. Great. Are you comfortable having to spend maybe half of that and watch it leave? Have you ever felt a moment of, okay, let's just say if you have $1 million a month, that's great. You think it's just $1 million net? You think there's nothing else that you have to pay? Have you had to send a $300,000 wire? Yep. Have you had to make a payment of something to where you have like 50 some grand leaving your account or something like that? Like that. Are you ready for something like that? Hell, are you prepared for the tax situation? Because how everybody, they file annually.
Yep.
Only the people who really making a shit ton of money will go and pay quarterly. There's a smaller percentage of people who pay quarterly if you're working a regular, particular kind of job. But let's just say if it was the end of the year, you made like $10 million. Are you prepared to send the IRS for and write a check? I heard Shannon Sharp talking about this on his podcast where he's like, he pays quarterly because he couldn't stomach having to send an annual big ass check because he was in the NFL. He said there was one year he had to send his largest earning year. I think he made $23 million in the season, and he had to send the IRS $8 million. Oh. And for me, understanding how the taxes and everything works, I'm like, Jesus, I could only imagine what that feels like. But for somebody who says they want to make that amount of money, they always think, oh no, I just made this, and you don't have to send money elsewhere.
Yeah.
You never get this money and don't spend it. Yeah. Every time I see entrepreneurs on Instagram, all the other stuff, the first thing I think about is, what was your overhead? Mm-hmm. How much was your ad spend? What was your situation to where you're probably just swiping. You could live off the points off of the card or whatever the case is. This flexing could all be fake. Who knows? People never think about how much money is leaving the pocket first.
I tell everyone, like, it costs to be the boss. If you want to do it, go fucking do it then. You know, because that, at the end of the day, these people, like, some might have gotten handouts, but also if they're maintaining it, if they're running it, they're building it up, you got to respect it. And they want that acknowledgement or that place without having earned it, which is where the frustration comes from. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think if we're talking cartel, mafia, I'd have to choose just boss. I like the responsibility because I like the rewards as well. I like the rewards that come with it. I like that, like, idea of everything falls on me. I like the idea of, like, when I move, millions of dollars move with me. Like, it was really cool. We were talking about earlier. I just bought a Porsche.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, bro. But it was my midlife crisis. You know, I had a kid. I was like, man, fuck.
Having a kid creates a midlife
I
crisis
had a kid.
at 28.
I was like, damn, like I haven't done anything for me in forever. Let me just. I don't know. It was random too. Like my mom just got here from LA, and I was like,
yeah, but hold on, didn't you just bought the Audi? I guess you sent that one back to go and get the Porsche. Right, so that's what made the shift over there. You're like, nah, you want to flex a little bit more?
There was issues with the title with the Audi because they had to ship it. Like, if I wanted to have it here in Florida, I had to ship it back to California.
Yeah.
Get it emissions tested, then ship it back over here. So I was like, nah, fuck that. Give me my money back. I'm gonna do something else. So I got the Audi. Wasn't a thing because there was a whole complicated thing. I was like, fuck that, I need a car though. So I went on the internet, looked for some cars, found a car, made an offer. I was literally like, they were like, I was like, I'll buy it right now. I'll have a check for you cash if you say yes. They said yes, sent me the paperwork, signed it. But I remember it was cool because I went to the bank and I asked for a big check amount. I'm a young guy. I don't look like I have money. I dress kind of homeless, you know? So I was there, and I remember they had to call like two or three managers to go and get this check cleared. And they had to, like, check my identification, make sure everything was legit, make sure everything was right. And yeah, it was a whole, like, ordeal before I actually was able to get that money out.
What was the eye contact like inside of the bank?
Well, it was weird because, like, they were saying the number, like, oh, sir, so do you want to take out you want to get a check for X amount? I'm like, damn, motherfucker, I still have to walk to my car after this. Like,
yeah, right.
Like, I'm walking, and, like, it's crazy. The craziest part, this is where it's super fucked up. The girl that was in front of me, she was trying to talk to the bank and saying, like, my landlord said the check didn't clear. And it was like, her rent was like, she was off by like $300. So she was like, oh, you can go. And, like, she pulled out to the side.
Damn.
To call her landlord saying, like, the bank said, like, it didn't clear because of this. And then she just hears me like, yo, can I get a check for like $100,000? I'm like, what's this for? And I was like, oh, it's for she didn't, the bank. So I'm getting a card. And, like, what car are you getting that you need to pull that much money out? And they did a whole interview. Manager came. Mm-hmm. Eventually I did get my check, but I was like, yo, I love that. I love that too much to just not be the boss. I'll take the responsibility for those types of moments of just, like, and maybe that's an ego thing. I think in order to be the boss, you need a little bit of ego.
No, you do. You need
a little bit of ego.
It's necessary, right?
Backed with the work ethic.
Right.
I think if you have ego and work ethic, you should be a boss. I think if you're good at taking directions, you should be like an enforcer.
But then again, if you have ego and a work ethic, you also need leadership as well in order to be the boss.
Valid point. So ego, work ethic, leadership, I think makes a good boss. Ego and work ethic makes a good earner.
Right.
Someone that's, like, really good at taking directions, I think you'd be a good, like, enforcer.
Yeah, I think if everybody buys into what ultimately the vision is, I think it works. But then overall, if it's because, like I said, for me, it would just be in a situation where it's like, all right, I'm making all of this stuff here, and then if it gets to a point where it's all just feeding, you know, the boss, and then it's kind of a situation where it's like, all right, we're just funding this person got going on over here. If we were to all collectively leave and form a coup and then we all depart, what ends up happening then? So it all depends on, I guess, the infrastructure of the business.
But I think the issue with that, because I thought about that too, like, what if all my salespeople, because we have their numbers, they're all posted.
Right. But the positive for you is you legitimately have, because in order to be a boss, more often than not, you have worn those hats prior.
Yeah.
Because when you first start a business, you wear every single hat.
Yeah.
So you at least, if worse were to come to worse and you had to be the one calling, although you don't want to fucking do it, you have that skill. That's not a skill.
The thing is, I'm not afraid to make an example of people too. So there was one salespeople. We have to interview. We get rid of people fast. There was one sales guy in here, and in the group chat, he made a recommendation. Hey, Rene, why don't you do this? And my response was very simple. Hey, thanks for teaching me how to do social media marketing. Appreciate it. How long have you been doing social media marketing? That's one thing I dropped in the chat. He responded, and we took him out of the group. I made an example of him in front of everyone, because at that point, now everyone's like, well, fuck, let me just shut the fuck up.
Right.
Like, I think it's very important to make examples of people, right? And this is coming soon. I'm going to follow up with this guy, and I'm going to make an example of him again. I'm like, hey, remember this guy that said something? Look what he's doing now. If he's doing good, then it's going to backfire. But if he's doing bad, I'm like, hey, look at this guy. He's still not doing shit. So be very grateful with what you guys have. You guys are blessed. And I treat everyone really well. Everyone in my organization, they get paid. They get bonuses. I'm really, really big on making sure everybody gets fucking paid. I just added a bonus structure where if the first dude to do $1 million, he gets a Rolex. And the dude that does $2 million, he gets a brand new BMW or Mercedes.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
So,
I think incentive is huge.
It incentivizes them to stay long enough, because let's say it takes them $1 million or it takes them a year to hit $1 million. They're staying for at least a year, because if they're at like 600K, they're like, fuck, I get a Rolex. I just got to.
That goes back to the acknowledgement, because I think the what's the big popular word now? Gamification of the business that now makes people want to go. Because if you now create like a hierarchy, people want to go and jump for it.
Yep.
So with that being the case, that puts them in a situation where it's like, hey, I want to keep grinding so I could be number one. And if you get an incentive, then it's perfect. So that going back to initially being like not wanting to be the earner, but if there are incentives that existed, then by all means, I'd stick by and then do stuff like that. But if you're in a situation where it's like, all right, the stuff is coming in, that's great, we appreciate you, and you just go on with the rest of your business, that's not a good leader. But if you have a leader who's now putting you in a position to where you're earning as you're going, plus there's further incentives that's there, now you gamify the entire situation and people feel much better
I think
around the company.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes around with building an organization, but like I said, it costs to be the boss. I have a question for you, actually. Unrelated, how do you deal with hate comments on social media? I feel like lately, since I've been going harder, my patience has been wearing more thin. Because when I'm off social media and I'm kind of like, I'm chilling, I'm not really working that much, I'll see it, I'm like, whatever. But when I'm going hard, not only am I getting more traction, I'm getting more haters, I'm getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? How do you deal with the hate comments? Do you get any hate comments? What is your solution to that?
Oh, it's been like 8 fucking years being on social media. There's haters all the time. The positive is it's all engagement at the end of the day. I never want to, I don't want to say be petty per se. More often than not, I'm not gonna, hit you back with the same kind of energy. There's a few times in which I do, but dealing with haters, it's like, all right, there must have been something that you didn't like. Let's find out specifically what your beef is. So if it's DMs, if it's a response to a comment, whatever the case is, like, all right, what's your fucking problem? Let's find out what's your issue is. Okay, if you don't like the jokes that I make, all right, cool. What did you like? Oh, you didn't like anything. All right, so why are you here then? So then by the end of that, I never want to meet with all that other stuff. But how I deal with it is I never get too high on the highs. I never get too low on the lows. So it never bothers me. So if somebody gives me a great compliment, it's like, oh, great, but I don't try to rest on that to where that now makes my essence. Like the other day, I just got a message that came in that there was a young lady, her brother I was his favorite YouTuber. He passed in December.
Oh.
And she was like, she still plays my videos in his room to kind of remember and when I read the man, I'm like, that made my whole goddamn week.
Damn, bro.
And funny enough, the same day, I get another message. How do I stop seeing your videos on my feed? I hate watching your voiceover video. Man, you're so corny or whatever. I'm like, oh, well, this kind of evens everything out. So when I saw that, that kind of message, I had responded to the other woman, oh, man, I'm so humbled to have been his favorite YouTuber. Keep his memory alive with how you navigate through your life, everything of that nature. With this person, oh, man, it's a shame that, I keep coming across your feed. I guess you must like it if you keep seeing my videos. You can easily block me. You'll never have to see me again. So I try not to get myself so caught up in hate, and then also don't get so caught up in love. Because if you get caught up in one of them, you'll get caught up in the other one. Because now it's almost like you're living for that.
Yeah.
Because imagine you'll get yourself to a point where if you chase after the dragon of getting those kinds of like positive comments, when they stop coming, you're gonna feel like you're shit.
Right.
Or if you're chasing after, although you don't want to search for the negative comments, but if you feed into it, so now it's like, yo, you want the smoke. When nobody comes around, you won't give a fuck about the positive comments because you only care about clapping back at the negative ones. So it's like trying to be even keel.
Well, I think for me, right, the one thing I hate I hate when negative, because even for my content, a lot of it's pointed at like, hey, I was broke, I got rich, you could do it too. The reason I think the negative comments affect me the most is because when people say some negative shit like that and other people read it in the comments, they then feed into that also.
Right.
When someone says like, hey, it's not possible to get rich, this guy's a liar. It's not possible to get rich if you weren't already rich. This guy is lying. There's someone that's reading the comments that's like, damn, like, because I'll read some comments sometimes like, oh, it's feedback. But when they see that, they're like, oh, damn, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not rich. I can't get rich. It like counteracts my mission as why I even started doing content in the first place. I'm like to help people believe in themselves and like eventually break out and do something, right? Mm-hmm. So when I see that, it like gets under my skin because I'm like, yo, negative motherfuckers like you are the reason that people are in this issue in the first place. You have like this negative, like misery loves company, right? So they're naturally gonna pull people down.
That's the issue. That's because it's not even like they individually have a problem. It's like they're trying to rally people to have a problem with what it is that you put out. I think that right there also bothers me.
If they were making their own content saying, hey, if they were posting videos, hey, you shouldn't do this because it's impossible to get rich without being rich, and they were doing their own content, that's great. It doesn't bother me. Your message. But if you're now rallying in my comments to try and counteract my message, it's like, the fuck, get out of my comments, bro. It pisses me off. And like I've gone as far as like I'll usually just delete it and block them, but like man, like lately there's certain ones where I'm like, oh, today's the day I'm gonna make an example out of you. There's one guy that said, hey, you don't make 70 grand a month, fuck out of here. So I was like, you're right, I don't make 70 grand a month. I make 300 grand a month. And I just went and made an example of him. The video went viral on TikTok. And I was like, that's what I need, that energy. I need that energy. And it's so frustrating because a lot of these people that comment, it's bad when people don't believe their own eyes anymore.
Right.
A great example of that, there's this woman, she got scammed, unfortunately. But it was by someone impersonating me. So someone was pretending to be me and she got scammed.
Brutal.
And I reached out and I said, hey, I'm sorry that happened. Can you send me more information on like what happened so we could look into it? I could potentially get their account taken down. Like, I don't know if I could remedy your situation, but we can prevent this from happening to other people. And he goes, shut up, you're a scammer. I'm like, bro, you didn't talk to me. Like, look at the accounts. And she's like, no, you scammed me. I'm going to spread the message about you. And I'm like, oh my God. Like it was to the point where it's like she was so far gone that she was just blaming me when I was trying to like remedy it. It was crazy. So I don't know. I hate the internet for that because
social media now, it's so many people
I'm
are getting
into
like
the toxic
right.
cycle.
Because if you're perpetually online, it can become a problem. And then if you're running a business and other people will come in and then like act as if they're you, impersonate you, that's when it really sucks. Because there's a lot of people, like this happened to a close buddy of mine, where they make a bunch of different fake pages. It started with me 2022. It's since stopped. I know we'll probably pick up again, where I was doing giveaways damn near every single month.
So if they did that,
and they just fake page reaching out to people, hey, you just won a PlayStation 5. But I always had it in a situation where whenever I did my giveaways, I always said, hey, this is the person who's the winner. I do it live, so it's not something that's behind the scenes where it was, oh, well, we have somebody who won. You guys don't know. I make sure everything's public, and then when you do win it, here's me packaging it. Here's me bringing it to the post office. Here's the confirmation of the person who I sent it to, opening said box. It ain't me. Like, if I was to be over here faking stuff, that would be a lot of effort to go and fake it. And on top of that, I also have receipts that you can see something was paid. I'm not paying $95 to go ship something.
So let's say someone pretends to be you and they get someone. Like, what do you do about that? Like, what is your response?
Situations like that, publicly, I'd first say, hey, this isn't me, obviously, because there's almost no way for them to, well, I can't say no way, but because I do everything so publicly, if they're going in private and trying to, reach out to you, that's obviously not me. Because anything that I would do in a situation like that, it'd be public. Then, now I had to verify, like I'm verified on Twitter, and just now, legitimately, I think last week I verified on Instagram.
There we go. You paid for it or you did it the real way?
I requested. It's very weird because I was never approved to go and pay for it because every time they would deny. And every single month I would request the verification. So when it came in, I don't know. I'll have to wait to see if they send me something from Instagram for like a monthly stipend. But right now I'm verified finally. So I'm like, okay, now I have that blue check over there so nobody can fake it for me now. So
I just got mine on I just got mine on TikTok, and that was legit.
I have
run on
to.
TikTok.
I gotta get back. I'm gonna upload like a
Sorry.
mass
I gotta go
exodus
again.
on TikTok where I'm uploading all of my content over there. And everybody who's making content, please upload across all social media platforms and take advantage, please, because TikTok evidently will be done within the next 12 to 15 some months, allegedly. So with that being the case, make sure you continually go and upload. But yes, I am now verified on Instagram. So anybody who runs into a situation where some fake account is either claiming to be me or claiming to be Rene or claiming to be any of your favorite creators, entrepreneurs, whatever the case may be, business individuals, make sure you properly vet the people who are sending you messages. Also, in email, there's a lot of times in which people will send emails to you talking about thank you for your order when you ordered nothing. And you see an account on balance and all this other stuff. Maybe your phone number is in there. Maybe your email is part of the invoice or the receipt or whatever the case may be. Make sure you don't fall victim to a lot of scams, because truly, I don't know the percentage or the math on it, but there is no doubt in my mind there are millions upon millions of dollars being taken from people by way of scam. So make sure you're on top of it and you do your due diligence and vet any particular kind of message that comes in, because I promise you right now, there's a lot of scammers who probably have already reached out to you from fake accounts, interacting with you in an effort to now get so close to where they could get some money off of you. So make sure you protect yourself.
Yeah, man. Anyways, talking about scams, this is completely unrelated scams. We made $30 off this YouTube channel.
Yes, indeed.
Boy,
Speaking about scams,
let's talk about it.
That's a crazy transition there. But yeah,
Listen, no, I started by in the restroom. That's why I was peeing. I was like, yo, listen, people. Just know you believe in something, you do it long enough, you make $30 after 7 months of a podcast, baby.
Right. Well,
Sheesh.
maybe yeah.
What can we give away for $30?
What gift card?
Gift card?
Funny enough, we had gotten a comment, and this kind of plays into what we were talking about before. We had gotten a comment where somebody was like, "Hey, did you guys ever go ahead and do that giveaway?" We did. Well, it was the $500 giveaway back in last year. Shout out to K-Dub, you were the one who won. So some people didn't know we actually did the giveaway. Everything's on the community tab.
Well, I'll
so
tell you what.
Renee
We're doing
done got it to him.
another giveaway. If you want to take everything we've earned from this channel so far, we're going to give it away. We're giving away a $30 gift card.
$30 gift card.
Where do you think we should give this $30 gift card away? Amazon. A $30 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is comment in the chat, in the comments, to get this gift card. You know what's crazy? This is about, I don't know, like going to be 50 minutes into the pod. So only the real listeners will find this Easter egg.
Yes,
to
indeed.
Enter this giveaway, all you got to do is comment Amazon.
Yeah, comment Amazon in the comments.
And you will be entered to win a $30 Amazon gift card.
Right.
Everything we've made from this YouTube channel.
Yep, in the very next episode, we'll announce the winner. So make sure you comment Amazon down below in the chat, in the comments, and perhaps the odds may be in your favor.
And here's the craziest thing, right? We don't get that many views. We get like maybe 200 views. I don't know how many people actually watch all the way through. So there might only be 5 or 10 people that submit. It's a free $30.
Right.
Everything we've ever made, our life's work, going into your pocket so you can spend it on Amazon. Maybe get yourself a nice little Celsius pack. This is not sponsored by Celsius.
Right.
Maybe get yourself a water bottle. What else can you get for $30?
You could get an order and a half from Chipotle.
Maybe an order and a half from Chipotle.
Yeah. You could get
With an Amazon gift card.
Well, yeah, that'd be crazy. Could you imagine you order on food off of or I should say cooked food off of Amazon? I don't think that's a thing.
I mean, no, technically they own Whole Foods, so you can order Whole Foods and get that delivery.
Yeah, Instacart is a thing, right?
Instacart's a thing.
I didn't know what Instacart was until a couple of months ago. I can't even.
There's so many of them. I have like 20 subscriptions on all of them. You
Jesus
can get an Amazon Prime membership for 3 months.
Actually, yeah, you can. Yeah, you
with
can.
this $30 Amazon gift card. Look at all of the stuff you can buy with the lifetime earnings of this channel.
You can subscribe to the Chiseled Adonis on Twitch by way of Amazon Prime with this Amazon gift card for 6 months. I'm just saying.
There you go.
I'm just saying. So make sure you comment Amazon below in the chat, and you will have an opportunity to win yourself a $30 gift card.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yes, indeed. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, once again, we would like to thank you for listening to yet another episode of the Assiduous Podcast. It is I, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the
Chiseled Adonis.
He is a
Serial
serial
entrepreneur.
entrepreneur,
Filipino prince.
tycoon,
Rene Lacade.
and this is
We are
Assiduous.
Assiduous.